The galaxy had seen war before, but never fear like this. High above a dying blue planet, the massive chambers of the Council of 12 echoed with quiet tension. Ancient alien races, beings who had conquered stars and erased civilizations, sat in silence. Before them hovered a single projection. Earth. Primitive, divided, emotional, one of the elders hissed. They will destroy themselves within a century, another declared coldly. For thousands of years, the Council had followed one rule. Any species that posed unpredictable risk, must be erased before it spreads. And humanity? It had already crossed that line. But then, a signal interrupted the chamber. Not from space. From the surface. A battlefield appeared in the projection. Smoke. Fire. Chaos. Hundreds of human soldiers were outnumbered, surrounded by an alien scouting force sent secretly to test Earth's defenses. "This ends now," one council member whispered. But what they saw next changed everything. A small group stepped forward from the human lines. No fear. No hesitation. Black armor. Silent coordination. Eyes locked on death itself. "Who are they?" one alien asked. The system scanned. Paused. Then displayed a single term. Special Forces. What followed lasted only 7 minutes. 7 minutes, that rewrote the Council's understanding of war. The humans didn't just fight. They adapted. Every move precise. Every sacrifice calculated. Every strike, devastating. When the smoke cleared, the alien force was gone. Not defeated. Erased. Silence filled the chamber. One of the oldest beings in the galaxy leaned forward slowly and spoke. "And these, are not even their main army?" No one answered. Because for the first time in millions of years, the Council felt something unfamiliar. Fear. The chamber remained silent, but not for long. "This is impossible," one of the Council members finally said. "A primitive species cannot fight like that." But the oldest among them didn't speak. He was staring at the battlefield recording, replaying it again and again. "Zoom in," he ordered. The projection obeyed. A human soldier appeared, his armor damaged, breathing heavy, yet still standing. Then something strange happened. The soldier looked up. Directly at the sky. Directly, at them. A chill spread across the chamber. "That's not possible," another alien whispered. "They don't even know we exist." But the elder's voice turned cold. "They do now." Suddenly, alarms echoed throughout the Council ship. Intrusion detected. The entire chamber shook. "What is this?" someone shouted. A new signal forced its way onto the main screen, overriding even the Council's ancient systems. Black background. A single line of text appeared. "You were watching us, so we watched back." Silence. Then, a human voice. Calm. Controlled. Dangerous. "We don't know who you are, or where you came from." A pause. "But sending soldiers to our world? That was your first mistake." The Council members stared in disbelief. No species had ever hacked their systems. No one had ever talked back. "You think you saw our strength?" the voice continued. A faint sound of boots echoed in the background. "You saw a fraction." Another pause. Then the final words dropped like a warning to the entire galaxy. Those were not just soldiers. They were a message. The screen went dark. No signal. No trace. Nothing. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then one council member finally broke the silence. "If that was just a message." He hesitated. "Then what does their war look like?" This time. No one wanted to know the answer. The council didn't wait this time. Deploy the Vanguard fleet, the commander ordered, his voice no longer calm, but shaken. Hundreds of warships, each capable of destroying planets, moved toward Earth in perfect formation. For thousands of years, this fleet had never failed. End this, before it spreads, another elder muttered. But deep down, they already knew. This wouldn't be easy. On Earth. Silence. No panic. No chaos. Instead, preparation. Underground facilities activated. Satellites shifted. Hidden bases, buried for decades, came online one by one. And in a dark command room, a single human stood watching the sky. "Sir," a voice reported, "unknown fleet entering orbit." The man didn't move. "Confirmation?" he asked. "Yes, sir. Multiple targets, not friendly." A pause. Then finally. "Execute protocol, Aegis Dawn." Back in space. The alien fleet slowed. "Why aren't they reacting?" one pilot asked. "They're afraid," another replied confidently. But then, Earth lit up. Not with explosions, but with signals. Thousands of hidden satellites revealed themselves at once, forming a massive network around the planet. "What is this?" the commander whispered. Then it happened. From the dark side of the moon, something moved. A structure, no, a fleet, emerged silently. Massive. Advanced. Unknown. Scanning. No data found. This technology, it's not primitive. For the first time, the alien fleet hesitated. On Earth, the man finally spoke. "For years, we watched the stars." His eyes narrowed, waiting for someone to make the first move. He took a slow breath. They just did. Back in space. The human fleet powered up. Weapons charging. Systems locking. And a single message was transmitted to every alien ship. "You wanted war." A pause. Then. "Now you'll understand it." The council had seen countless civilizations fall. But today, for the first time, they weren't watching a species get erased. They were watching one rise. Space exploded into chaos. The alien Vanguard fleet fired first. Blinding beams of energy tore through the darkness, aimed straight at Earth's defense network. Entire moons and distant systems had fallen to this very attack. But this time, something was different. Impact in 3, 2, 1. Nothing. The blasts stopped. Frozen. Suspended in space as if time itself had been broken. What is happening?" a commander shouted. Then the answer came. From Earth. "Phase 1 complete," the human operator said calmly. Around the planet, the satellite network pulsed with light, creating an invisible shield. Not just blocking attacks. Controlling them. Back in the alien flagship. Impossible. No energy shield can do that. But before they could react, the human fleet moved. Fast. Precise. Relentless. Ships vanished, then reappeared behind enemy lines. Weapons fired, not with brute force, but with terrifying accuracy. One by one, alien warships were disabled, not destroyed. Engines gone. Weapons offline. "They're sparing us," a pilot whispered. "No," the commander said slowly. "They're choosing who lives." On Earth, the commander stood still, watching everything. "Sir, enemy fleet losing control rapidly." He nodded once. "Good." A pause. "Now send them the second message." In space. Every alien screen flickered. A new transmission appeared. A human voice. Cold. Unemotional. You thought this was a war. Silence. Then. This is containment. Panic spread across the alien fleet. Retreat. Retreat now, someone screamed. But it was too late. Because something else had arrived. From deep space. A massive structure opened. Not a ship. Not a weapon. Something far worse. Reading unknown energy levels. No, this can't be. It's not targeting ships. The signal cut. On Earth, one officer hesitated. Sir, should we really use it? For the first time. The commander's face hardened. They sent scouts first, he said quietly. Next time, it would be extinction. He looked at the screen. No more chances. Back in space. The structure activated. And the stars themselves, dimmed. The council watched in horror. Because now they understood. Humanity wasn't defending itself anymore. It was sending a message to the entire galaxy. Stay away. The stars were fading. Not exploding. Not collapsing. Just disappearing. The alien fleet froze in terror as the massive human structure continued to activate. Entire sections of space were going dark, like reality itself was being erased. This isn't a weapon, one council member whispered. It's something far worse. On Earth. The command room was silent. Even the officers, trained for war, looked uneasy. Sir, energy levels are exceeding all predictions, one of them said. The commander didn't reply. His eyes were locked on the screen. But not with anger. With something else. Something heavier. Open channel, he finally said. Across the galaxy. Every signal. Every frequency. Every system. Was overridden. For the first time. Humanity spoke to everyone. A different voice this time. Not cold. Not threatening. Old. Tired. We warned you, the voice began. A pause. We always do. The council leaned forward. Because they recognized something impossible. That voice. It wasn't just human. Thousands of years ago, the voice continued. We were like you. Images flashed across the galaxy. Ancient civilizations. Endless wars. Entire species rising, and falling. We fought. We conquered. We believed we were unstoppable. Another pause. Then. Until we found it. The stars dimmed further. The massive structure pulsed. Something older than all of us. Something that doesn't care about life. Silence. Then the truth dropped. And it changed everything. We didn't build this weapon. A breath. We found it. Shock spread across the council. That's impossible, someone whispered. And we learned the hard way. The voice grew heavier. It doesn't just destroy enemies. It erases existence. On Earth. One officer stepped back. Sir, if we continue, we could. End everything, the commander finished quietly. Back across the galaxy. The voice spoke one last time. We hid. We stayed silent. Not because we were weak. A pause. But this time. It felt like regret. Because we were protecting you. The stars kept fading. The weapon kept charging. And now. For the first time. Everyone understood the real danger. It wasn't the aliens. It wasn't the war. It was humanity, losing control of something it was never meant to use. The universe was holding its breath. Stars continued to fade, slowly, silently, like candles being blown out by an unseen force. Across the galaxy, entire civilizations watched in fear. For the first time, everyone was equal. Not as enemies, but as something much smaller. Something fragile. On Earth, the command room stood frozen. "Sir, point of no return in 60 seconds, an officer reported, his voice shaking. The commander didn't respond. His eyes remained fixed on the screen, watching the darkness spread. Memories flashed in his mind. Wars. Loss. Sacrifices. And one truth he had learned the hard way. Power always comes with a price. "Sir." 30 seconds. Far beyond Earth, the Council of 12 stood in silence. The oldest among them stepped forward slowly. For the first time in millions of years, he bowed his head. "Stop this," he said quietly. Not as a command, but as a request. Back on Earth, the commander finally moved. "Open channel," he said. The entire galaxy went silent once more. Every being, every world, listening, waiting. The commander spoke. Not as a soldier, not as a leader, but as a human. "We are not your enemies." A pause. "We never were." The fading stars flickered. "You feared us, so you attacked." His voice remained calm. "But fear doesn't justify destruction." 10 seconds. "We had the power to end this war." Another pause. "Longer this time. But if we do." His eyes closed for a brief moment. "There will be nothing left to protect." 5 seconds. Silence. Then, he made the choice. Shut it down. For a split second, nothing happened. Then, the massive structure in space stopped. The energy vanished. The darkness retreated. Stars returned. Light flooded back into the universe. Life continued. Across the galaxy, no one spoke. Because what they had just witnessed was something greater than power. It was restraint. The council stood in disbelief. "Why?" one of them finally asked. "On Earth." The commander looked at the stars. Peacefully this time. "Because we're not monsters." A pause. "We just know what it feels like to face one." And just like that, the war ended. Not with destruction, but with a decision. From that day on, the galaxy never saw humanity as weak again. But they also learned something far more important. The most dangerous species in existence was also the only one strong enough to choose not to destroy everything.